I'm so proud of myself because I did not think I could get it to go.
I was like, how many times will I text you be like, do you want to call me or should I call you? Or just like,
I'm just trying to see. Hold on, because for some reason it's like so. Like you see me, am I big on your screen or small?
you're big. I
See,
think
you're small on my screen for some reason.
I think it's because you're the host. Let's see. Probably. Is there
Oh.
any? Well, I probably can't do anything. But I'm down here, guys.
Yeah, I don't know. There's like a certain way that you can do it where it's like we're both the same size, like it's side
Just,
by side, but I'm so bad. I don't know how it works.
I mean, these are elder millennial problems, really. This is what makes me feel older. I'm like, I used to know it.
And guess what?
But
I'm not even okay. This is embarrassing. So I'm depending on what you look at, I'm not a millennial. This kills me. So I was born, I guess they say millennial goes from like 96 and then before, and I'm 97, like January 7th.
yeah. So
But
you
I'm
had all
like,
the stuff, like you know all the stuff and the way it was. It just wasn't that way
exact
very long.
like by law, if we go by the date, then yeah. But like we had dial up. I didn't get my first iPhone until I was like well into high school. Like I everything, and plus I'm the youngest of three, and my brother's 41, my sister's 36. So I was like wrapped up in their childhood. So I always just felt older anyway.
Well, I don't know. I don't know about all these boxes they got us in anyways. Like
Right?
we have I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, I really understand Gen X. I'm like, really understand Gen Z. So,
Okay, guys,
anyways,
I
I'm
see you guys
seeing
saying
the
hey.
shameless people are popping up, you guys. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know. Because I get all these things and they're like, why did you leave? Or what happened? Or, all this stuff. And like, there is some story to some of it, but there's also like, just Karen as the figure she was, I guess, because she really pissed me off having to play her.
So yeah, how was it playing a character that would be considered in some aspects a villain?
um, obviously I appreciate it in some aspects because there's really no villain in Shameless except for just the world, like it is the
Yes.
way it is. And it's funny and it can really suck for a lot of people, but and there's happy times too, obviously. But there's like so I really liked watching her kind of like or I didn't like it, but there was like playing someone's soul kind of getting ripped out of them when they're young and they just don't know why they're so burnt out, but then she just sort of starts to tank everything, like nothing matters but money. And then after nothing money matters but money, then she starts getting violent and she runs off. And like, there was a whole lot of stuff with the dad.
Oh
They
yeah.
talked a lot about dads and moms in Shameless.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I always talk about that. Like they were the way they were, every character I feel like in Shameless because of parents. Like it just shows how much like that nature versus nurture. Like you need someone to be like there for you because I feel like it was very absent parents or like, you know, they were who they were because of how they were raised.
Right. And so, they always say, well, Frank's probably extremely smart,
Oh
just
yeah.
like Lip, like he's just like Lip. But there was just something that broke him, whether it was his mom who whether it was just growing up in this. But it was an interesting take. You can tell how, like, very artistic and intelligent, John Wells, all of their camps are just very well thought out. So even
Yeah.
though you've got these darknesses, it's so true that it's like, okay, I can accept this. But there are not many, but like once or twice a season, like Warner Brothers would come in and be like, y'all cannot shoot this. Absolutely not. And
Really?
the actors would be like, I don't know, can we shoot them? Do I want to be a part of something that, not that we really had a choice at that point,
Yeah.
because it's the kind of show too where you might have a problem with it, but at the same time, they have a bigger picture for what is going to happen.
Yeah, I feel like they could get away with a lot more too because they were on Showtime. So it wasn't like they were on like a cable network where I feel
Right.
like if Shameless would have been on like NBC or like any like I don't even know how the
Yeah.
storylines would go.
And it almost was like at first John Wells was looking at NBC and then he was like,
Oh,
this
wow.
won't work. They won't let me do what I need to do. And then it just took a few years, and then HBO and Showtime like started popping out all these like mega hits, and so Showtime picked up Shameless. It was like, it was just the nature of the show that had to have like a lot of sexuality to it. It had to hit really hard for you to take them seriously, because they're not,
Yeah.
they thought about like John Wells talked about like possibly putting it in the South, and like I'm like, no, Chicago is a lot different, and
Yeah.
we don't have. So I feel like you can take, sometimes the accents make it hard to take us seriously too. It's okay, we know.
So, what was it like when you got the call that you got the role of Karen?
Oh gosh, I was just at my little apartment in Pasadena, and I was just laying in my bed, like, I think, like pinching myself. Like, I didn't even know what to expect from it all. I was originally just a reoccurring that was possibly going to be a regular for the pilot.
Yeah.
And my original mom was, oh my gosh, why is my brain just calling her Sheila right now? Was the lead in Mom. Oh my god, Allison Janney. So the mom was
Okay.
originally Allison Janney. Allison Janney decided, I want to go do Mom, and I get it too, And then Joan Cusack came in, and it became just sort of more of a regular place for the household to be, I guess, because she was such a wild card. So like, I think just bouncing between the wild card of Sheila and Karen,
Oh my
that was
goodness.
the
Yeah.
one regret. I was like, I know, because I kind of left partially because wasn't it wasn't about that family, so it didn't need to be about that family. But
Hmm.
the other part of it was, I didn't. My mom's very conservative, and I didn't want to do the nudity, and I didn't know really how to express all of that. So I got into one of those like, well, I'll leave the show, and they were like, okay, that's okay, like we can work with that.
Hmm.
And I was like, what? You don't want me to stay? So
So you
then,
wanted to stay, but just not do like the nudity part?
yeah, it would have been
Okay.
better to like be in the writer's room, because that's what Emmy got to be in the writer's room to do her nudity. So now that's how I feel about all nudity. Like, let's just be in there so I can understand, like, so,
So you can
but
have
I
a
think,
say.
yeah. But there is sort of a humiliation weird thing with Shameless, so I don't know. But I just remember, like, it's not me, it's that character.
So have you ever had people, because I talk about this a lot too, where it's like sometimes people have a hard time differentiating the character from the person. Like, have you had people like who think that you are Karen? Like you are Karen.
Oh gosh. And sometimes especially before I had a kid, I was so wild that like I did have that like, I'll get drunk with anybody, woohoo, like party. And then I had a kid, obviously, and I'm like, I can't be hungover ever again. But like, but there's never that sadistic side, and it's weird how many people are actually disappointed that like I do not have like a hard edge to my body. Like, I'm the kind of person, I'll be like, I think it's raining right now. Like, it's raining. I like to make suggestions. So it was interesting accessing the part of myself that just did not care. Like,
Yeah.
but on the flip side, like there's a couple of scenes where Lip like gets the crap beat out of him in front of Karen, and like me as a person like would like tear up during rehearsal, and the directors would be like, "You don't care, you don't care,
Can't act like
you
that.
think
Oh
it's
my god.
funny, you'd
Yeah.
love to get some jabs into, but he's your boyfriend, you won't do it."
So, who were some people that you were really close with on set? Like, I love learning about, like, when I hear about different TV show sets and they're like, oh, yeah, me and so still hang out to this day. Like, who are some people that you're really close with in real life?
Well, out of people that were like actually on the show, like I've only seen them sparingly because I don't even live in Los Angeles anymore. But when I was out there, I would talk to like Emma a lot. She was always at similar events to me. Shanola, like after the show, and this is unfortunately true of a lot of it, is like everyone just sort of like goes back to their old lives, and
Yeah.
there are people that are super close. I mean, this is so funny. And I'm not even trying to promote her, but if she gets promoted, there's a girl named Rekefet, Abigail. She was in the scene where like they're talking about episiotomies, and
Okay.
Karen kind of learns that like her like whole thing could rip during childbirth.
Okay.
And so there's like, and there's also a little kid that's like all sugared up running around. And so it was funny because me and Rick Effett talk all the time. Like I've done a couple of short films. She's raising funds right now for a very cool short film about, I don't know if it's fully linked, but I think this is just the short, but it's like about how it feels to have a miscarriage.
Oh wow.
And it's really powerful script. I was just like, but we're really close, and that's so weird. She, just like a guest star that day,
Right,
but
like just like one scene, and it's like you're still super close.
so we check in a lot. That's one of my friends from LA I really like, and she's done some other stuff. She was in like My Big Fat Greek Wedding, I think, or
Oh, nice.
not sure, but I don't. Yes, but anyway, I'm like, I don't want to misquote anything there. But she's awesome. I've talked to Shanola. Shanola's probably like the safest, motherliest person.
Oh, she seems like it, honestly.
She's like the oldest of a ton of sisters.
Hmm.
And you can tell, like, she's like, okay, that's that. Let's move on. Come on, everyone follow me. Like she looks out for everyone. Steve Howie is hilarious, but like he used to use my trailer to poop in during the first couple of years, and I was like, I know, and there was only 3 years. I'm like, I know I'm the new kid, but like you're kind of ruining my experience, Steve.
Oh my god, I think he's definitely like one of my favorites because like I watched him when he was in Reba, so like when I to see him in that and then see him in Shameless, but like he just seems like he's one of the nicest people
He
ever.
is, but he's very like dry humor, and like he's just sort of like it takes a minute because he really likes to mess with people a lot. So I'm always like, he's good, but he's like good trouble, like, and maybe not in that exact sense, like he'll be like, he's not afraid to complain that he's freaking cold right now,
Yeah,
you
right.
know?
Like his speak is mine.
Yeah, I like it too because I'll just, you know, back then especially I was so nervous I would like never say if I was uncomfortable with anything. I was like, yeah, I'm good, so good.
So it's nice to have like someone who will like speak up, like, nope, like that's me, like, oh no, this
Yeah,
is not okay.
yeah, exactly. It's like, okay, stop.
Someone actually put in the comments, Steve and Jerry Trainer remind me of each other. I can see that, like Jerry Trainer from what's that show? iCarly.
Oh yeah,
I can see the vibes a little bit. Okay, I
yeah,
get what that comment's going with.
I get that. And Steve is very like, his dad was a really famous acting coach, I believe.
Okay.
And so he's so intellectual, and his ability to be comedic is, I mean, that's why he's the lead in True Lies right now. It's just,
I want to see that show. I when I seen he was doing a different show, I was like, okay, I gotta check it out. So that's something I definitely have to see.
it's super dope. Like, it's so awesome. So I'm glad he's in that world now where he's doing more like superhero stuff, but he's definitely like, this is so much work, guys. I have to keep his six pack all the time. I just want to drink some. Dang, like it's a hard
Yeah,
world when
he
you
was
see these
fit.
people. Yeah, I
Okay,
know.
so I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, nothing. I'm like just babbling. All right. I
No,
keep
you're
seeing
fine.
this thing with. Okay, and we should talk about Emmy Rossum. That's fine.
Okay, yes.
Okay.
So people were asking because I know, like, even myself, I've seen different articles that have said that like there was some drama on set with her. Like, do you know anything about that?
I mean, all of that is true, but it's always going to be from this perspective of the person telling the story. And some of it is like, she grew up in the industry. And one of the things that was really interesting to me, because her mom's like a crazy scientist, like
Oh
she
wow,
makes
I
these
didn't know
like
that.
beautiful, like artistic pictures with perspectives that you're like, how did you like take a photograph that looked like that? Because, like it's stuff like
Yeah.
that. Like she's just brilliant. And so there's part of that with Emmy, but I mean, Emmy has been through a lot of pain being the young it child, and it's been a rough industry, and her mom taught her how to be tough. So sometimes I think on a bad day some of that stuff comes out, and it would really hurt people because we all thought she had it all together all the time.
Hmm.
But the truth of the matter is she still has bad days, so we can only fall back on the stuff we're learning. I mean, she would be one that could say something like if she was going to insult you, it was going to hurt your feelings if you're sensitive.
Yeah.
But also, there were times when, like, one of the directors had made me just really uncomfortable and nervous or undercut something, and I'm on my period or something, so now I'm about to start crying, and then Emmy like pulls me aside and says, hey, you can, I'm here for you, but you just can't do this right now, okay? And like she would help me. So in the same way, I'm like, she's not a mean person, you know, she's
Yeah.
just
She has her days.
very human, you know, but an incredible actor. I mean, it gives me chills watching her get into character sometimes. So
Yeah.
you're like, wow, she just dropped into a new dimension.
Someone else had a question. Oh, someone said, how old were you when you were filming the show?
So in the first season, I was 20, or in the pilot, I was 20, and then I turned 21 because I remember I was still using fake ID for the last. And don't do that, kids. It's not worth it if you get in trouble. Or drinking, but yeah, I was like, I always remember I was still like, maybe I shouldn't be using my fake ID, but I was just that person.
Yeah.
I was gonna try to get away with it. We were shameless.
Right? Shameless.
And then I was
Someone
off by the time I was 26, I guess, or 20. It was like a 6-year thing, I think, for 3 seasons.
someone said a lot of people hate your character, but I think you're pretty iconic.
They do. And I mean, I just wish people wouldn't be having my comments telling me like that they want me to, they're like, are your hands because you got hit by the car? And I'm like, I didn't get hit by a car. They love saying hit by a car. I'm terrified I'm going to die by getting hit by a car now. I'm like,
Oh
oh,
my god.
no.
Right? Like, no, this is my fate now because of the show. Has to be now. No. So you, of course, on the show you dated Lip. Were you and Lip close or not? See, I have that tendency sometimes. Were you and Jeremy close? All
That's
behind the scenes.
it's fine. Um, Jeremy and I were, you know, we got along fine. I actually had to take him to work the first year. And I'm like, where's my shout out, dude? Like, I had to get up really early to go get your little New York butt because he couldn't drive.
Oh, if he's from New York City, that makes sense because they don't have cars. So
Yeah, he had no cars. He had issues with golf carts. And that's when I was like, maybe I should drive you. You know, Georgia girl over here. I'm like, my dad like just gave me a field and was like, drive around in it. But so he's, I mean, he's also one of those, he's so kind, like he's very intelligent emotionally, you know.
Yeah.
But he's also, you know, he likes his space and he's kind of shy, but you know, and then he ended up marrying Addison, who was like staying with him, like they've been best friends for life. So that
Aww.
was, it's like really magical that they, you know, I love their story and their life.
Yeah. Someone said, I watched the show for Ian and Mickey. I feel like that's like a fan favorite. Like everyone loves Ian and Mickey together.
Even
So,
though I don't know about Mickey all the time, Mickey be getting him. Mickey really gets Ian in so much trouble sometimes,
oh yeah, right.
but Ian's there for Mickey. That's why we love him.
Right? Like they are definitely a toxic relationship, but they're like the toxic relationship we love. Like
Yes.
it's like the one we give the pass to. Like I always talk about relationships that are like toxic. Like I talk about like Rachel and Ross from Friends. And I'm like, you know, like Mickey and Ian were also toxic, but we're gonna give that one like a pass. Like
Yeah.
that's a guilty pleasure.
I mean, they out of everyone on the show, you know, they always
Yeah.
come back to each other. They always
Always.
come back.
They're like always there for each other. Someone said, I really want to be an actor for a living. How did you start?
Okay, well, I started in the 90s. No, it was in the 2000s because, but I mean, what you're essentially gonna want to do is know what you want to do. First of all, if you're like, okay, these,
Ooh, hold on,
and
guys.
then it's
Okay.
really good to like go like get you an IMDb Pro subscription and really look at like who cast that kind of stuff and you know, and looking out agents that work with those kind of casting directors. Because, like, if you're a kid, then there's certain kid agencies that do kind of different things, you know. And but if you're an adult, then you just want to like keep showing up and marketing yourself, but also be ready for camera, you know, like know how to be an actor and memorize things. Like you're gonna memorize a lot of stuff. Just
I can imagine
use
being an actor.
one of the most impressive things I've ever seen for memorization was Bill Macy doing these like 3-page drunk monologues. Like who could ever do that? He's brilliant. He's brilliant.
Oh my gosh. What was it like working? I feel like probably out of everyone in the cast, he's probably like one of the most well known just from acting, what, 80s, 90s. Like, what was it like working with him?
He is just so like, you know, he's like everybody's uncle, real nice, not creepy uncle, you know, but the one that's
Yeah.
like, you kids play fair, you know, like there'd be like disputes on set and he'd be like, kids, settle down, you know. He would like let us come over to dinner at his house, and he had these, I mean, his little girls are just so like Sophia and Georgia were just always so polite and real smart. You know, he's just kind of like that family, like he is a family man, but he's also kind of big kid at heart, I'd say.
I can see. I feel like I could definitely see that. Like, I feel like he'd be really fun.
He's still kind of goofy, yeah. Like,
Someone said, "How was Sheila and yours relationship? I loved her. I missed her on the show." So I'm guessing they probably mean like you and Jane in real life,
exactly. Well, that was with Joan.
or Joan. Sorry, yes.
Oh no, that's fine. That's fine. Joan, like, so she also has her kids in Chicago, so she's very maternal.
Hmm.
Um, you know, they're all everybody there is pretty much out to lend a helping hand as far as the big cast goes. You know, like, um, so she was just always very like nurturing and she would, you know, really enjoyed playing such a kooky. She plays a lot of kooky characters, but
She does,
like,
yeah.
but she's kind of kooky. She, you know, she has a shop of just random things that she likes to sell in Chicago, and it'll be like, you know, like a dice with like goldfish in it or something. You know, it'd be like a weird. You
Just
should
like a weird
buy it.
object you just sound like,
Uh,
here, try it.
so she was always so funny, and I talked to her a couple of times afterwards, but yeah, I didn't hear from her, and that's when I will admit, y'all have to know, I'm petty. I need to go and finish the show in its entirety and not read the cliff notes. But when Sheila left, I was like, no, not
I was no, not our fave.
Sheila. Now I knew I wouldn't be going back, and I was like, no. I just wanted one day in the healing vortexes. I just wanted to know what it was.
Yeah.
We've got Jaime. We got Jody and Karen. Karen's a lot nicer, I think, now. And then you got Sheila now. And I just wanted, like, okay, that's all. like, Lip just stops by with his wife and finds him at a roadside stand. I don't know.
Right? Be like, hey. So someone said, do you keep in contact with the cast? So then I have like a follow-up. I know a lot of like people that I talk to when they do big shows like this, they'll tell me that they're in like a group chat with the people on the show. Is there like a Shameless group chat?
No, if there is, I'm not in it. But I think that I think everyone's kind of like gone their separate ways at this point.
Okay.
I'm sure, like, I think Shanola goes and sees Howie, like, all the time because she's working on
Oh,
a
love
show over
that.
here, too. And I've, like, kind of heard from him because my husband's a stunt guy. So, like, we're trying to
Ooh, that's cool.
find fun stuff for them to do. But, you
Yeah.
know, it's like, I wish we were better friends. But at the same time, like, I'm glad that everyone's so busy and they're enjoying their life, you know?
Yeah. No, yeah, I definitely get that. So let's see. Shameless premiered. Let me see if I remember the date right. It was 2000. It was what, 2012?
Yeah.
Okay. So we see like a lot of 90s shows coming back now. Do you see Shameless making a comeback years later down the road? Will there be like a Shameless reboot?
I mean, I guess if there was still such a big shift in like uh you know, like our class system is just so off, you know, where you know, everyone's talking about shrinking middle class, wealthy, and we still needed to keep making like shows about forgotten families in some
Yeah.
ways, then yeah, they probably could make another one of those, because it's like we've got to keep fanning the flames of like, hey, remember us over here, like we're not way up here, but we all need community
Yeah.
and to be remembered.
Right? Yeah, no, I definitely get that. Like, I feel like I hear a lot of people say spin-offs too. Like, I've
Mhm.
heard a lot of people say they would love to see like a Fiona spin-off, where it's like, where did she go? I've talked about that one. Or
Exactly.
even like, I would love a prequel to see Frank and
Mm.
Monica when they first met and how that all played out before they
Yeah.
had kids and as they were having their kids, like when Fiona was young and stuff like that.
Right. Oh yeah. Because there had to be something that Monica did right.
Yeah.
Like Monica had to have done some things right, because then Fiona wouldn't be so just betrayed by her leaving.
Yeah. 100%.
So I think that's one of the many interesting things. But someone was asking me what do I think of Karen, and I think that her character is just sort of it's what happens with, she's someone who is looking for help and love, but she's
Hmm.
trying to take it all the time. So every time she keeps trying to take it and grasp it, or say she does, and then say she doesn't care, all of a sudden she just gets angrier and angrier until I think she quit thinking.
And
Like
just
I really,
acted on it.
there are a lot of girls too, and I get their side of it with the whole adoption thing. Like, even though Karen was really cold towards that adoption process, I think in her mind, a rich family would be better for the child than growing up in the South Side. So,
Makes
or
sense.
anything would be better than growing up in her home, which I
Yeah.
don't think that Sheila was a bad mother, but I think, they were just giving a real thing of like what ends up happening when teenagers get pregnant and don't know how to deal with it.
Yeah, and that's a real life situation that happens for a lot of women.
So I think, we just have to, like, when we watch shows like this across the board, you just don't want to punch down on the characters you don't understand. I think they're there more to be like, why would this, like, this isn't just a problem that we should hate, but it's also something that, like, real youth struggle with sometimes. And
Yeah.
so she doesn't, I don't think she should be like hit by a car, dragged off, or anything like that. As satisfying it is for people who are hateful when that happens,
Yeah.
but at the same time, I think kind of being nice to the dog that keeps biting all the time, maybe it won't bite all the time. So,
So if you could have wrote like a send off for Karen, what would you have had her do?
oh, that's a good question. That's why I'm like, oh gosh, that's a really good question.
Thank you.
Uh, I think probably I would have just had her kind of, maybe they would have had that fight with Mandy and Karen would have run off with her tail between her legs, like
Yeah.
maybe that would have been more of a finite thing. Instead it was like this, oh my god, and now Lip is with this crazy person, who's
Yeah.
really capable of anything.
There's right? Anything.
But yeah, maybe I wanted more, but that was always like, I was always trying to find a way to make her nicer or find the happiness in this hard life, and they were like, stop it, she's mean. I'm like, she's mean.
She can have like a character arc.
She's
Like, would
mean.
you have like to have like a redemption story for Karen where it's like Karen reforms
Yeah,
herself?
like that would have been cool if they just made her like reform and get boring, and then she went on her merry way. That happens all the time.
Yeah, no, seriously. There's so many TV show villains I think of that it's like they were not good people in the beginning or they had like their problems and then they got better
Well,
as
in my
seasons
mind,
go.
she like works at like the roadside stand at the healing vortexes and gives you like a crystal, and like has and not like in a disrespectful way at all. I just mean like she's got kooky, crazy things that she's selling.
Yeah.
Jody's over there modeling it. He looks stunning. He's like just wearing the jewel. Because they don't have boundaries in that family. Sheila's there, and they might kind of still be sharing Jody. I don't know.
I'm
Like,
crying. I forgot about that storyline. Oh my gosh,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, so funny. Like, it was like 6 different characters, so that's all I know.
I was gonna ask you another question. What was the other? Oh, so what was your favorite
I
storyline?
don't know
Like,
how
what
to
was
make
your?
the screen bigger. Do y'all know how to make the screen bigger?
Yeah, if you guys know how to make the screen bigger, let me know because I can't get it to do it.
Oops, I just turned my camera off, so don't do that again. Is it back on?
No,
No,
it's
it's
not back
not.
on.
Dang it! Why did they give you?
The host has to do it. Okay, so how would I do that,
Okay,
guy?
I put it back.
I don't know how to do it. Let me see. Nope, you can't do that. Let's see.
I'm just a minion over here. Dee-dee-dee-dee.
I do not see it. Someone said, "Oh my God, hey, hey." Um. Oh, what was your favorite storyline? I was saying, like, what's your favorite Karen storyline? That could be.
I mean, one story. I think a lot about the. I should call it the Madison Davenport. Oh, no, I'm plugging my phone in. Okay, it's like the story of Shanola, or not Shanola, of Kevin V trying to like have a baby, and then they like end up getting this girl who's like from a commune, and
Yeah.
like that was a crazy storyline. I really, um, I do like the Carl character.
Mm-hmm.
And I like Carl's antics, but I know he's also a youth in crisis. But like there is a lot of like it's just stuff with Carl where I'm just like, up and here he goes, like
Carl is so like all over the place. I feel like 1 minute he's like Carl just setting things on fire, then he's white boy Carl, then he's Carl the police officer. Like he just has
yeah,
so
he
many.
becomes a law enforcement, and you're like,
Yeah,
I think the fact that he becomes law enforcement too is like, I'm like, there you go, guys, like, um. You just don't know what direction the kid's gonna go in. You think they're holy terrors, and then the next thing they're like obsessed with the right thing. Who knows?
they really have like so many dimensions to them. Like it's such a dimensional character. Someone said, "Who is your favorite Shameless cast member?" I feel like you've kind of already talked about that, but is there anyone else that like stands out to you when you think about your time on the show?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I still wish I could hear Shanola at 5 o'clock in the morning singing her gospel songs in her trailer and doing her workout. Like that was always like a fun memory. She'd just be belting, and she can sing really well too, but she'd just be belting her gospel out in her trailer over there, and I'd be like, I love her.
Someone said earlier for you to like record the like Karen parts that were a little bit more inappropriate. Was it hard doing it with the cast like watching you?
So anytime we did nudity, we lock off set. And so the like most risque thing is like outside of our like the giant studio, like we have our big sound stages, you'd have a bunch of cast members in their robe, and we're like, we look like we're filming porn right now. But inside, everything's blacked off in a black box. Like, and so only monitors our director, and the only people that are in the room are like vital sound people and camera. And
Okay.
if the other characters in the scene with you, then they'll be in there too,
Yeah.
But and this gets into like there were times when, and I'm not even gonna say who, but there were directors that
Yeah.
would ask inappropriate things like, "Can you actually put your hands down people's pants and touch areas they may not want touched?" Like there were
Yeah.
things where like, and in my mind that kind of starts going beyond like
Yeah. Beyond acting.
we're watching and now we're doing. So I was like, okay, I don't like love that. But other than that, there wasn't like, we were able to be as private as we possibly wanted. And the dailies were kept super secret and all that stuff. Dailies are like, they have little, all the little film clips of the scenes get sent off, and those are called the dailies.
Okay.
Kind of, I guess it's sort of like what you did today, but um, but they're kind of like what you shot for the day. But so like nobody's getting a hold of any of that stuff. It was pretty.
Right.
It was more just sometimes it felt like there was no way to like, like if they wanted to go on a kick where your character just keeps getting like up the booty with a like it's something like that,
Yeah.
and you're not quite ready for that, or she's like on her knees or something like just profane like that, you're just like, can I have a warning or something? Because there was one time, and this I've never repeated, but I don't think it's a bad thing. But it was where Emmy was being a little bit of a shit. Okay, I would
Okay.
call her out on it. She goes, "Did you notice they took my nudity scenes out and then they put one in here for you?" And I was like, "No." I was like in my heart, just like, "No,
They're like,
you
oh,
can do that." But
yeah.
it was fine. I got over it. But stuff like that where you're like, you don't like to feel like you're the one who has, like it's a date. You know what I mean? Does it make
Yeah.
sense? Like, I don't want it to fall on me. I was sitting over here. My mom's not talking to me because the ladies in the choir are like, "Did you see what your baby's doing?" And then my
Oh, wow. So it
grandma,
really got to be like at that point.
yes. So people in the choir like telling my mom like all this bad stuff I'm doing. Then my grandma is like telling people that I just need to make my money. And I'm like, well, don't tell them that either, Mamu. I call her Mamu, but I'm like, don't tell them that either. Just say I'm an actress.
Right? Like, because when you say it like that, that doesn't. Oh my God, that's hilarious.
I thought my kid was gonna. I guess she's just got in here.
I'm
But
trying. Someone said you can make the grid a certain way, but I don't. It's not. Oh, hold on. Oh, wow. There we go.
oh wow, look at my mom pants. They're great. They don't fit. I don't know how women like. It's so annoying. So you get pregnant and you go up like 3 or 4 sizes, and then you buy all these clothes because you're like, well, this is life, and then randomly you lose weight again, and you're like, and then you want to get pregnant, and then I'm gonna have another baby eventually. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm
No,
just gonna keep these baggy pants.
that's literally me. So I had my daughter. She's 4 now, and I've always been super small. So like high school,
You are.
pushing 110 maybe. Had her, I went up to 140, and then gave birth, and now I'm like back to like 120. So like I have all these clothes in my closet that are just big. I'll probably never wear again because I don't know if I'll have any more kids. And then it's like I'm super small again. So there's people, like a lot of people on TikTok actually thought that I was like a teenager. So there was
No,
one time
I
I
can
posted.
see that. I can totally see that.
I
I know
don't
that
see
like
it.
I start off weird with the elder millennial, but I just figured you were really young looking or something.
No, yeah,
You're
no.
Uncle
So
Premature.
I remember I posted a video of my daughter because she wanted to do a review on a movie because she sees
Yes.
me do it. So someone was like, "Oh my God, so like, are you a teen mom?" And I was like, "I'm closer to 30 than I am to 21, like just to give you that context." And they're like, "Oh my gosh, I thought that you were like 18." I'm like, "No, I didn't even have her as a teen. Like I was in my 20s." And they're
Yeah.
like, "Oh my God, I did not know."
Oh yes. No, because she is like a real like you guys had to do preschool at home, so because we were talking about that where it
Yeah.
was the whole thing with the so. And then that reminds you too of the pandemic. I just think things have slowed down a little bit for the fans. Are like, are you acting? I'm like, I'm just trying to get my crap together a little bit as a mom. But I just think it's sort of one of those times in my career where it's not a lot going on for me. And I'll probably pick back up, like it's very
Yeah.
normal. I've never gone through this before, but it's normal to just have seasons where you don't really do anything and then all of a sudden you're working on everything. So
Yeah. Someone said, "Have you ever bumped into fans that only know you as Karen?"
that's pretty much my life these days. I really hope I can make it big as some other character. I was like, come on, Nancy Drew, take off because everyone knows me as
Oh,
Karen.
so what would be a role? This is a good question that you want to do. Like, would you see yourself, because you look so young? So, like, could you see yourself doing more of like a college kid or something, or do you think you want to move more into like mom roles? Like, what would be, or like spies, or like doctor roles? Like, what would be a role that you'd want to be?
Yeah. I definitely like, and I'm fingers crossed as long as this film keeps going. It's supposed to be doing like a western, so like
You're telling me that.
like I like period pieces a lot, so that would be cool to play like someone in a western. I also really love like Smokey and the Bandit and trucker movies. So like I would love to play like the um why is my brain not working? Anyways, the Jerry Reed character in that. That's what I want to do. I want to be like somebody who drives a truck and has like a dog, and they're like kind of weird, and that's what I want to play.
Nice.
But they're fast.
Someone else said something. What did they? Oh, hold on, because my
How do
phone.
you feel about Jeremy Allen White's
Oh, yeah.
career? I'm just jealous. It's fine. I mean, it's beautiful. You'll watch The Bear. Have y'all watched The Bear? It's
I
so
have not
fun.
watched it yet. I want to watch it so bad. Someone told me it's like one of the best shows they've ever seen, so I have to check
It's
that
so
out.
good. So good. So yeah, of course,
100%.
I'm like, that's awesome.
Oh, someone also said, did you have any crushes on the show?
I did not, and that is one thing that I was always really big on. Is I did end up dating a few actors, but never anybody I worked with. Like if
Okay.
I work with you, you might as well be my brother. So that's where the whole Jeremy Allen White thing. I'm like, I did not ever have a crush on him, but
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, I do love him. So
Oh, see, if I was on Shameless, Steve, girl, I would have been like, hey, Kev, how you
of
doing?
course. And I'm a little
Oh
older
my
than him,
gosh,
so I wasn't
love
gonna
him.
do that. But now I'm not like he was like 17 and I was 20. I was like, I'm so much older than you. So
But you look so young. Like that happens all the time though. When it comes to like people play, I always talk about this. I'm sure you know. Like when people play teens, very seldom are they ever really teens, and it's because of the things that they have to do. Like you couldn't be 16 doing what they were
not
doing.
that hyper that kind of a role, like that
Yeah,
kind of sexuality. And that's what like I didn't even know if it was gonna be legal for them to show that, but they were like, yeah, we can, because I'm like, oh, this is kind of weird. Like I sometimes want to like put a disclaimer. This is a 24-year-old body, or like this
right.
is a
Like it's not a
22-year-old's
teen.
body. Like this is not what 16-year-olds look like, and I don't know what they look like, and nobody should ever know. Like y'all just, except for maybe teenagers, I don't know, but they are in their own high school world over there.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't really like playing kids anymore, just because the things that rock your world as a teenager are so much different and as an adult. So,
That's so true.
but God bless them all. God bless them
Someone said in one word, how would you describe your time on Shameless?
all. One word. I mean, shameless. But just keep it as that. It was shameless. There were, getting into fame and understanding fame. That was a bumpy ride. And
I
then understanding Hollywood, that was kind of bumpy. But it was also like learning to take charge of my craft and, learning how to do adult people things.
So you, of course, have been on other things other than Shameless. So what would you say, other than playing Karen, was like one of your favorite roles, or like a TV show that you were on that you really liked?
So I really liked doing Nancy Drew. That was really fun because it's just here in Georgia. And
Ooh.
then when I did Rings, my friend Bonnie Morgan is the little girl in the well. And so that was fun. And my fiance at the time was working on it. And
Okay.
so we got to work together. Um, and then, the Tomorrow People was a very short-lived CW show. Like it's in
Oh,
the
I've
tongue because
heard
I
of that.
saw that you found the zombie show where she eats
Yes.
the dead, and I actually loved that show. Like I auditioned for that show years ago, and I was like, "This is so cute!" Like
I
it's so
could
fun.
see you playing the main character. Like I could see. Is that who you
I
auditioned for?
mean, I did. I mean, you've got all these things where like we just have so many girls in Hollywood that's just like y'all. Like people are so talented there. It is the
Yeah.
Olympics.
I can imagine. Oh my gosh. No, I stumbled on that show. Like I go through these periods where I like watch a show intensely. So for me it was Buffy for a little bit. And then I finished Buffy. So then I'm sitting here like, oh my gosh, what should I watch next? And like me and my husband are watching Breaking Bad. But like he also has early hours. So there's
Mm-hmm.
times where I'm up all night and I'm like, what can I watch by myself? And iZombie popped up. I'm like, okay, like let me give it it's so good.
It is.
I
It's
stay
so
up till like
cute. Like
4
it's
a.m.
so
watching it.
yeah. Like it's like one of my favorite shows, and obviously it didn't go super long. Was Pushing Daisies. Like that one was like, I don't care if it bankrupts the studios, you will make more episodes of it.
Now I could see you being on, because I always do like the fan casting. So I could see you being on one of my favorite shows, Grey's Anatomy.
That would be awesome. And I, did get some auditions for that. And then it was just like a lot of it is just knowing exactly where you need to be. But I did get to do private practice. And I was
You were in
pregnant.
private practice?
Yes. And it's also, have you ever heard of Switched at Birth?
I've heard of Switch to Birth. I watched it here and there, but I like binge watch private practice. So now I'm trying to think. Like,
Well,
what
me and
character
the
were you?
girl Vanessa who was in that, we were both pregnant, and we wanted to. We had done a pregnancy pact, and we were going to have
Yes,
a
okay.
baby.
I do remember that
And unfortunately, Addison wasn't in it.
episode. Mm-hmm.
So,
Oh my god,
oh
that's
well.
so cool. Oh,
But it was, so much because I'm just like from Oconee County, Georgia. So getting all these opportunities were never, as a kid, what I thought. You know. So I never really thought I would do like really anything. So it's lasted a lot longer than I thought it would. But you get into the and I mean there was so many like weird missteps. It was like so I asked to get off Shameless, and then I got botulism. So I was like, botulism's a neurotoxin, and it's like what in canning. So that there was like a whole thing on TikTok about like make sure you're getting all of the oxygen and you're sealing your canned goods because you can get botulism.
about that.
And so then they brought me back on Shameless, but the day we finished the deal to go back to season, Bates Motel was the girl with COPD and had to turn it down because I had made a commitment to Shameless.
Wow, so you were going to be on Bates Motel?
Yes, and that would have happened if they would have let me do both shows, but they were like, you can't do Bates Motel and Shameless. And then I didn't have the heart to tell the people of Shameless after we made a deal for 6 more episodes. And they were like bailing me out of this terrible illness. And like, I've lost all this weight. And it was 2012 was a freaking year. Okay. It was a year. But anyways.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, no, I watched Bates Motel earlier this year too. So that was an interesting show. Definitely.
So creepy.
It's right. Like, oh my gosh, I was a big fan of The Good Doctor. So seeing Freddie go from playing Sean Murphy to playing the kid in Bates Motel, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's such a switch. But it was such a good show.
He's a great guy. He's a great actor. I don't know him as person, but he's a great guy. Great actor.
He is a really good actor. Oh my god, but it's so cool. I want your life. Like, it seems like so much fun. You know how much I love TV shows, so I don't know if I'll ever would do acting. I would definitely love to give it a try, but I have to venture.
No, you gotta like look it up. Go to some improv classes, just some like on camera class, just to be goofy and see, because that's what happens. You just can like latch on to something and then you just keep enjoying it, and sometimes someone else enjoys it, and the whole thing takes off. I mean, look at your TikTok. I mean, I'm like, dang, like I was, because I feel like when you first started, I think I started following you at, you had like 36,000 followers, but I was like, oh, like she's so nice about everyone. Like nobody's just getting dragged, because it always hurts my heart when I just hear just the gossip and they're dragging someone, and I'm like, there's gonna be other sides to this, like somebody triggered somebody before the story is getting told. So
exactly.
Usually, like there's more to it, and you're always just so thoughtful, and you stick to the characters too. Like you've got your like. I think what really drew me to get on your live that day was because it was like you were doing actors that are really nice or in real life, but they play mean people. Because it haunts me what happened to the kid who played Joffrey. Like that haunts me that people were that mean.
Wait, I'm trying to think. What happened?
Like he didn't act, I don't think, for years, because he was, let's see, someone will definitely call me out if this is just a gossip, but they were just like, I don't think he worked on anything else because people hated him so much. Like that's the scary thing with like being famous.
Yeah.
Like I've had people in clubs like call me a whore or be very aggressive or feel very like I'm Karen, so I must, because I played her, this must, so like I can't imagine that kid feeling like, wow, like you guys really hate me, And I
Oh
just
my
picked the role
god.
of a lifetime, you know, and having to be in that headspace is hard, you know. I mean, he was very good at it.
I can't. And you know what? It's almost like every time someone plays a villain or someone plays a character that people don't like, they're the nicest people ever. Like I was talking, I think one time about Justin, or not Justin, Bryce, right? And 13 Reasons Why. They
Oh
said his
yeah.
real name in real life is Justin. They said that he is the nicest guy. And like he would do certain roles and he would feel bad about it. So he would like stop the camera and like hug them. Like there's just certain characters who are so mean, but the actors are sweethearts. So I'm always like you. And then there's other people where it's like the actors not good people. Like I think about on that 70s show. I love
Yeah.
Hyde, but Hyde is going through it right now. Like he's not
Mm-hmm.
made good choices. So it's like I don't like him as a person, but his character was great. And a lot of people can't differentiate the two, which is so weird to me
Well,
because
it can
literally
definitely
that.
give you problems when you're just trying to, like, actors are just puppets on the stage, you know. Like,
Exactly.
I mean, I hate to diminish this too much, but you know, we really are just sort of the living embodiment of this work. We're not like there's a lot of the times I just want to say like actors aren't always great role models. We've got a lot of
Yeah.
emotions bouncing around. We've got a lot of like seriously, there's a lot of mental health issues in our industry that people just work around, you know. Or
Yeah.
let's say like I had my polar opposite politically, you know, like and we don't get along on anything. We still need to make our chemistry and we still like acting.
Yeah.
So like as long as like I know people are really bad on bad days and really good on good days and people probably say that about me too.
Let's see. Someone said
My first role
something.
was on a Lifetime movie. I was just reading that. But I was in
Yeah.
a Lifetime movie called Not Like Everyone Else with Lucas Till and Alia Shawkat.
I don't know if I know them. I feel like I would know them if I saw their face because the
Uh,
name's familiar, but
Lucas was in the Hannah Montana movie.
okay.
And he'd probably be like, I was in so many other things. Like he's in
That's like
X
what you
Men,
thought
but I
of.
don't watch a lot of X Men. And he's in a lot of stuff. And then Ali Shawkat is maybe on Arrested Development. She's basically a
I
legend.
have not watched that show yet, and I heard it was so good.
Okay. Well, if you like weird, just if you like the Office, you'll like
I love The Office.
it.
I
All right.
adore it.
I can't believe it's been an hour already. I
Really?
know.
I didn't even notice that.
Oh, it's like I've never done these lives. I got to do them more often. Then.
Yes. Oh my God, it's been so much fun. I used to go live all the time, and then it's just like I got busy. I stopped going. But this is like fun to me.
It is. Let's see. Where's my thing? So, wow. I'm like, why isn't my phone charging? I'm like, because you didn't plug the plug in. But I plugged the phone into the plug.
But
So,
not into the wall.
well, anyways, I've probably got to get out of here soon. But I just want to thank you so much for your time.
Of course. I had so much fun, so we'll definitely have to talk again.
Anytime. Yeah, you got my
Yeah.
number. And thank you guys that logged on. And I'll look on here. I might have to grab some of this so I can be like, see, guys, these are the explanations that y'all seek.
Yeah, exactly, right? So also like I recorded it so people can go on YouTube and watch it if they weren't able. 'Cause I know this is like an awkward time too. It's 1 o'clock, so some people are at work, and then I know I have some people on the West Coast, so it's earlier for them. So for people who couldn't be there, I recorded it.
Well, we'll see how. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, not like we'll see. I'm willing to talk to you anytime, anywhere. Like, I'm coming to New York for brunch. You don't even know about it. Anyway.
Yeah, girl, let me tell. And then you in Georgia now. Listen, my sister's moving there. I'm gonna be there a lot.
Exactly. I have to take you to the zoo because that's
Oh,
where we go. Go
listen,
to
my
the zoo or
daughter
the
would love it.
aquarium.
I've been wanting to go to that aquarium forever because we have a thing about aquariums, me, my daughter, and my husband. So we've been like to the Baltimore one, the Boston one, the Connecticut one. So we want to go to one in Georgia. So whenever I'm out there,
Yeah.
I
The
will definitely
belugas are my favorite. They're so wiggly and they're just like blah 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 blah. And they're so pretty, but they're just like, I don't care. Like they like to get their belly up against the glass and I love them
yeah,
for it.
I love it. Oh my God. So I'll definitely let you know when I think I'm coming sometime late, what is it, late August I'll be in Georgia. So
Okay.
I'll definitely let you know. If you ever in New York, let me know. I'm in upstate New York though, so You just have to go a little bit further than the city, but we're not far.
Yeah, I always think of upstate as like, no, we're not. Like, it feels like a breath of fresh air because I'm very overwhelmed by New York City.
Oh, see,
It's very short, and people are like, I'm like an armpit length, so I like a subway, but I don't like a subway. You know what I mean? If it's crowded, I'm like, oh my God.
See, I'm in upstate, and I just don't like it because there's really nothing to do. So, like, most of the time when I'm doing something, it's like hanging out with friends, like to go get food. Like, there's nowhere to really do anything much. But we're hoping to relocate within the next year, so we'll see.
Let's see.
Ooh, someone did say, I will say before you go, because I agree, I want to see you on Marvel. Ooh, can you imagine?
Right. Let's put it out into the universe.
Yes,
my husband's filming a Marvel thing right now. He's working on Agatha. So,
okay.
You know, that's all. I think that we know Agatha is happening. Yes, we do. Okay, I'm like, is that in the portraits? Yes, it is. Yeah. It's like, you can't leak anything or else Disney like comes in from the ceiling and takes you out.
Say something, right? I'm crying.
All right. Thank you. I hope so. And let me know. I will talk to y'all.
Sounds good. I'll talk to you later.
Soon. Are you frozen? Yes, you're frozen.
Yeah,
okay.
and you were.
I thought you were like.
Too.
All right. Well, sayonara. Let's talk soon and keep doing what you're doing, Brie. I'm a big fan of it all.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, thanks. You too.
Right. Bye.